Panginoong Diyos, aming Ama, ang Diyos ng awa at mapagpatawad. Ang biyaya mo ay tunay at lubos, walang katulad at banal. Ngayong Kapaskuhan at nalalapit na bagong taon, inaalala namin ang tunay na regalo sa sangkatauhan. Pinagkaloob mo ang iyong anak na si Jesus upang kami na naniniwala ay maligtas sa aming mga kasalanan at sa kamatayan. Marami sa amin ang nalulungkot at nangungulila sa mga mahal namin sa buhay na nawala dahil sa COVID virus, sakuna at mga sakit. Pakinggan niyo po ang aming mga panalangin at panaghoy. Kalamayin niyo po ang aming mga puso at bigyan ng lingap at kapayapaan kaming mga naulila at nahihirapan. Naway ang kalooban niyo po ang maghari at maganap. Ikaw po ang tunay at may alam ng bawat kalagayan ng iyong mga anak. Espiritu Santo, o aming Diyos, datnan mo po kaming tapat at naglilingkod sa iyo. Ito ang aming samot panalangin na may buong pusong pagtitiwala sa ngalan ng Ama, Anak, at Espiritu Santo. Amen.
Walang kasing saya ang Paskong Pinoy. Dumaan man ang problema at pandemya, kayang-kayang lampasan basta't nagdadamayan at nagmamahalan.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!
Tuloy na tuloy pa rin ang Pasko dito sa V81 Radio, Manila.
Ito ang paborito ng bawat Pilipino. Basta all hits, all Pinoy, panalo. Merong kwentong iyakan at tawanan. Kahit nasaan ka man, ito'y mapapakinggan. Oh, V81 Radio, V81 Radio. Ito ang radio mo, ito ang radio ko. V81 Radio, V81 Radio. Dahil mahal namin kayo. V81 Radio, V81 Radio. Para sa inyo ito, V81 Radio.
The views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the program anchors and producers and do not necessarily reflect the policies and position of this station. Here now is the program for the millennials that will showcase young professionals' worth, aspirations, and successes in doing what they believe is right, progressive, and inclusive. Join them as they discover the path to self and societal fulfillment while making a difference. Hosted by empowered and cool millennial Erika Mison, together with her fellow millennials, they will be making a difference. Only here on V81 Radio, Manila.
Good afternoon, everyone. You are now tuned in to Making a Difference. This is a show created to inspire and motivate the youth of today. My name is Erika Mison, and I will be your host for today's episode. So last week's episode, I had Mariel Betanga with me on the show. So she is a financial planner and founder of Simply Finance. So we got to talk about how to manage your finances, especially at an early age. And she gave us tips and advices on how we can start saving today. Now, if you want to check that episode out, you can check it on our YouTube channel and our Facebook page. Last week also, I did a special interview. with the winners of last year's film festival hosted by Streets to Schools. So this year, I'm happy to announce that Making a Difference is actually one of the media partners for that film festival called ang Ikalawang Karapatan at Kabataan. So you can check out Streets to Schools if ever you do want to join their film festival. I know it's still open. You can check them out on their Facebook page. Streets to Schools, I also interviewed them here on Making a Difference. So again, you can find all my episodes starting from season 1 from on our YouTube channel. So that's V81 Radio, and also here on Making a Difference Facebook page. Now, before we start, I actually want to greet everyone happy International Volunteers Day. So that's actually happening today. I just want to congratulate all the volunteers and thank you also, especially to those volunteers who reached out during the recent typhoon. I know a lot of youth volunteers from Metro Manila and from Luzon, from Visayas and Mindanao. I know they're all helping out up until today. So thank you all so much for really taking your time off and really helping out those who were affected by the recent typhoon. And because today is International Volunteers Day, I invited 5 youth volunteers actually with me today to talk about volunteerism and what they do for their organizations. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce to you my 5 guests for today. First, we have Sam Villavicencio. She is the Executive Director and Co-Founder of Action ng Kabataan Organization, which is AKO. And then we have Laila Balinggan. So she is the founder and convener of the Cordillera Youth Movers Program. Next, we have Kyle Atienza. He is the founder and chairperson of the Street Classroom. Then we have Paulo Martin Saberon. He is the CEO of the Cebuano Youth Ambassadors, Inc. And last but not the least, we have Niniay Mohammad. She is the co-founder and president of Movement of Progressive Young Leaders. So again, I'd like to welcome all the youth volunteers that I've invited on the show today. Hello, everyone. I hope you're all still there. Who is here today? Yeah, and there we go. Hi, we have Sam, Kyle, and Layla. So later on, we will get to talk to Paulo and Niniay. So hi, everybody. Hope you're doing okay. All right. So before we talk about each of your organizations, I'd like, ayan na, there we go. There's Pao Saberon. Hello, welcome to the show. Ayan. All right. So before we talk about what you guys do and your organizations, I'm sure the viewers would want to get to know each one of you now. So you could give us a very, very short intro, where you graduated from, what you're doing now, and where you're actually based. I know we got volunteers from different parts of the country. So let's start with Sam.
Okay, hello everyone. I'm Sam Villavicencio, the co-founder and executive director of AKO, or Action ng Kabataan Organization. I am currently a student in the Ateneo de Manila University, and I'm an advocate for children's welfare and social justice.
All right, thanks, Sam. So you're based here in the Metro.
Yes, in NCR.
Okay, got it. Next, we have Laila. Hi, Laila.
Hi. Hi, everyone. My name is Laila Balinggan. I'm the founder and the convener of Cordillera Youth Movers Program in North Luzon. I'm currently based in Thailand, but I'm originally from the West, in Cordillera.
Nice. Okay. How are you? How are you over there in Thailand?
Well, we've been doing great. It's going back to normal now when it comes to the COVID situation. So it's all good.
That's great. That's great. How long? Sorry, I just got so curious. How long have you been based in Thailand?
I've been working here for the past 3 years now. It's been so long.
I know. Okay. And what do you do there? What job do you do?
I work as a teacher, by the way. Sorry, I didn't mention that. I work as a teacher. I graduated Bachelor of Education from Benguet State University.
Nice, nice. So we have a teacher on board. All right, thank you, Laila. Then next we have Pau, or as they call him, si Kuya Pau. Hi, Kuya
Yes.
Pau. How are you? Nice to meet you.
Hi, mayong hapon sa tanan. Yes, I'm Paulo Saberon, and I'm the founder and the chief executive officer of Cebuano Youth Ambassadors Incorporated. Our organization started as a Barkada group in 2010. I could still remember that I was still a student at the time in University of Cebu, Manila, when I tried to tap other student organizations from other campus or from other schools here in Cebu. And then it started when we thought na um, we're so down because we're not able to make it in one of the known or one of the premier youth engagement programs in the country. Parang sobrang down namin. And we decided to create our own group. So basically, it started like a Barkada group. We used to tease ourselves as Ayala Young Losers Club because we failed to make it in the EYLC at that time.
Oh,
Yeah, pero we eventually decided to name the group as Cebuano Youth Ambassadors because at that time our clamor was to strengthen youth participation in Cebu. And then later on in 2012, we became an IU awardee, 10 accomplished youth organization, and then we started creating impactful and relevant programs, not only in Cebu City but in the entire Cebu province as a whole.
mm-mm. Okay, nice. And how are you guys naman doing over there in Cebu right now?
You know what? During the start of the community quarantine, like community lockdowns, it was very stressful. Like for the month of February and March, I think Cebu City had, is one of the cities with the highest number of cases as far as COVID cases is concerned, right? And it seems like the government at the time, or the local government at the time, was really unprepared of the things that might happen in the next months. And then, yeah, people were also unprepared. A lot of those who are living in remote areas or even in the urban poor communities are not even familiar with COVID, given that they don't have access to information from the internet, or they don't even have a gadget, right? And there was no community education conducted by barangay officials or by the local government. So I think that basically the reason why there is an increase of cases here in Cebu. Pero at this time, medyo okay naman siya. Yung number of cases namin paunti ng paunti na lang, and then we can now move from one place to another. Given also na we have to follow strict health protocols.
Okay, well, that's good to know that you guys are all doing okay actually, Sam, Kuya Pao, and Laila. Okay, so now, again, happy International Volunteers Day. So that's actually happening today. And that's the reason why we decided to push with this episode, because we all here are volunteers. About his organization for a bit. I want to get to know Ako and CYMP. So, how did Ako start, Sam?
Okay, so back in 2018, a bunch of me and my friends, were exposed to a lot of different communities by our school during like immersion experiences and programs. And during those immersion experiences, we were really able to form close relationships and bonds with different kids and also farmers and the nanas who we stay with in their houses. And the relationships we formed, which last until today, actually, like we still communicate until now, really inspired us and made us think, oh, what if we become a bridge for our friends from other schools to these communities as well. So with that, we started our first outreach program with kids in orphanages, and we invited a bunch of our friends to join us in these outreaches. And a lot of people really did have a fun time. It was surprising to see just how well we all got along. So with that, we began to plan more projects and more outreaches. And within a short amount of time, ACO started to grow even more, and more people slowly wanted to volunteer and become a member as well. And so with that, with those small outreaches that we started planning in the beginning, we started growing and started having our own projects and initiatives aiming to give aid to other sectors of society. So our main focus is kids, but we also aim to give back to other communities as well.
Okay. So when did ACO start officially?
So ACO officially launched January 2019, but then it was already starting in late 2018.
Okay. And do you have do you have projects ongoing now?
Yes, so we currently have an ongoing project for the typhoon victims. So it's a donation drive for victims all over the Philippines. So we aim to reach people in Cagayan, in Rizal, Marikina, and just all the affected places in general. So that drive is still ongoing until today. And we also have an incoming Christmas project, which is actually launching tonight. So you guys should check it out.
Okay. So what is this Christmas project that you have for tonight?
So more details will actually be posted tonight, but it aims to help the children of our partner foundations or orphanages. So these children were usually abandoned by their parents, or they don't really have homes that are conducive to growing up. So they're put into these orphanages, and due to the pandemic, a lot of these orphanages are struggling financially and can't really support these kids with their basic needs. So with that, we wanted to raise money to be able to provide for the kids and also provide them with their Christmas gifts for this year as well.
Okay. And do you have any future plans for ACO? Or
Oh,
what's your future
definitely.
goal? Yeah.
So, our mission and vision is ultimately for the welfare of the Filipino children. So, all of our projects, all of our initiatives really aim to give a better future to the Filipino children because that is really what they deserve. So with that, we do continue to plan a lot of projects and initiatives for our partner foundations and as well as addressing different social issues. And we really try to make use of our social media platforms and utilize our online resources as well, given this pandemic. So with that, we do have incoming projects planned out for early next year, but just stay tuned for that.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Sam, for giving us a very brief introduction about ACO.
Thank you.
Next, we have Laila. So Laila, what is CYMP? What do you guys do?
Right. So the CYMP stands for Cordillera Youth Movers Program, which its basic objective, its main goals, is to educate and to implement and attain the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals in the region of Cordillera by 2030. So all of the projects are aligned with the SDGs. We have different projects with different SDG goals right now. It's very general, but honestly, I can talk about that in a specific detail after this.
Okay. All right. So, okay. So, when did you guys begin
Right, right.
CYMP?
All right. Well, I think telling you this story of behind the CYMP would not be complete without telling you my background before I started it. So let me just, before anything else, I would just like to give you a brief history of my journey before establishing CYMP. Uh, I originally come from an education background. So I'm a teacher, but after I graduated in 2018, I received an invitation to participate to the United Nations Youth Assembly in New York City, and so I was very excited. I was ecstatic. That was the Big Apple, right? So yeah, I was very excited at that time. For me, it was a huge opportunity, which I was like, who knows would it lead to? But unfortunately, after I received that invitation, that excitement kind of died down for a bit. uh, because I was unsure if I could go. I don't come from a lot of money, um, and at that time, I just got out of university. So honestly, I was literally broke, and I had no money at all. So I was like, there is no way I could afford it. But fortunately, I was quite stubborn, very stubborn ako. So the idea of just giving it up, giving the opportunity up, didn't even seem like an option to me at that time. So by then, I knew that I had to make money. And so I had to raise funds on my own with the help of other Cordillerans and Igorot people. So after running here and there, I basically was able to raise enough funds to be able to actually represent the Cordillera indigenous people to the United Nations Youth Assembly. And yeah, thankfully, after so much hustles and efforts, we, as in the entire Cordillera region and the Igorot people, were able to be there in the UN global stage for the first time in history. So, but I won't be able to successfully um, we represent the Cordillera indigenous people as a youth ambassador to this UN Youth Assembly without the whole Cordillera behind my back. And I mean that literally because my journey to the UN stage was supported not just financially, but also through the constant motivation of the Cordilleran leaders, the Cordilleran government, and as well as the Cordilleran people as well, who were at the time, most of them were based in New York, and they literally became my host. So they welcomed me in their houses so that I wouldn't have to pay for hotel rooms. And so you see, for me, it was a collective effort for by the Igorot people. And after I came back from New York and I went home to Benguet in Cordillera, that's when I started to establish the CYMP. And now the CYMP was founded behind the idea of what we call binadang in our culture, which is a literal term for cooperation, and it is quite synonymous to bayanihan in Filipino. So binadang is like the foundation on and the core value of the CYMP of our organization, which for us it literally means the spirit of community. It's the spirit of unity. It's the spirit of cooperation in order to achieve a particular goal. And for us, that particular goal happens to be the attainment and implementation of the SDGs in our region. Sorry, that was too long. I spoke so long.
No, no, it's fine. It's great. You know that this is why. Right?
Yeah,
No, you're
but overall,
fine, Laila. Sorry, what was that?
but overall, that's the whole story.
Could you repeat your last sentence? Okay. No, do you know that's why I feature youth or people like each of you
Right.
here on Making a Difference, because I know you all have stories to tell, and that's really a nice story to hear. Congratulations, by the way, on making on being able to go to that UN youth meeting. That's really a success in life. So congratulations on that. I just want to say, and
Thank you. Thank you.
it's nice to hear that we're all working together. And I believe that is actually the theme of the International Volunteers Day. It's hashtag Together Weekend. So guys, if ever you're gonna post about youth volunteers or volunteerism, don't forget to use that hashtag Together Weekend. Thanks for sharing that story, Laila. It's really inspiring, and I hope the viewers also get inspired by your story. All right, so let's So hi Kuya Pao. Maybe you could share some of the projects that you've done for CYAI.
I'm so sorry, Erika.
I'm so sorry, Erika. I can.
Well, sorry. Can you hear me now? Is this
Can you
better?
repeat the question?
Okay. All right. So maybe you could share some of your projects that you have done for that CYA already.
Yeah, when COVID lockdown or community lockdown started in February, we realized that there are a lot of young people, especially the students who are based in Cebu, who got stranded because of the immediate response of the government to implement the quarantine, and because of that, around 300 to 400 students were stranded in Cebu. So our initial response is really to help them and support them with their immediate needs, especially for the relief, because they are not a priority of the government. They were staying in Cebu, like in a boarding house or in an apartment, and basically they are not listed as beneficiaries to whatever is the relief of the barangay or in the local government units. So given also that they did not receive any quarantine passes, so we took the initiative to actually call for help and support these students. So we're able to respond to around 300 to 400 students for the month of February and March. Like we're able to provide them relief good for a week or two. And then other than that, we also try to reach out to the respective local government units and their barangays to somehow link them, especially when they need to go home to their hometowns. So we're able to do that, and we're also able to mobilize. Like we're able to tap few friends in some provincial governments in Central Visayas to respond to those students who were stranded in Cebu. And yes, some of them were actually given financial assistance, and they were also assisted in their transportation and in their way back home. So that's one of the initiatives, and then we call it the Rise Above COVID. And then other than that, we also launched the project Para Kay Baby. One of those barangays who was put on a hard lockdown, like they are not really allowed to go outside. They're also not allowed to. They are also not allowed to welcome people from other places to go inside their barangay. There are so many mothers who actually posted in Facebook that they are looking for some baby necessities like milk because they are running out of supply already, and yeah, and these are and most of those who were put on a hard lockdowns are like urban poor communities. No, so they had no access to education about COVID, about how to protect themselves and how to protect their other family. So when we launched the Para Kay Baby, we would want it na it's like a bayanihan online initiative that would really empower young people to reach out to those people who can help, and then provide a platform and opportunities for people to support those mothers who are in need of COVID education, who are in need of education related to breastfeeding, and those who are in need of relief, especially on the baby necessities like milk, vitamins, diapers, and whatnot. So basically, that initiative started with one barangay, and with the overwhelming support of the Cebuanos to the project, we're able to reach around six barangays with the most number of cases in Cebu between February up until April. And then in every barangay, we're able to help 100 mothers to become COVID educated, and they also receive the Para Kay Baby packs. So there's around 600 families, 600 mothers, and 600 babies who received support from that particular initiative. Another initiative that we also implemented in this pandemic is uh, the Bahay ni Beshi Gay Initiative. It's our project that we bid in the Unila Foundation Ideas Positive in Run 8, where we were recognized as the first runner-up in the national. And we pursued the implementation with a hope that we will be able to reach more young LGBTs who are in need of safe space to talk about issues related to their sexuality, to their gender, about mental health, about HIV, about discrimination, abuses that are becoming rampant, no, during the start of the community lockdowns. So yeah, with the support of ASEAN, with the support of the Youth Voices Count and the frontline aides, were able to reach around 100 young LGBTs in Cebu, educated them about mental health, like provided them exercises on how to respond to it, especially if they would experience stress, anxiety, and depression. And then we also included guidance on where to go, especially if they will be needing help. We also included HIV education there, and then of course COVID education at the same time. And then that Bahay ni Beshi Gay Initiative is the actual program, but the project components include, number one, the Guma session with the Beshis. It's like a platform for us to be able to have an intimate and heart-to-heart discussion with young LGBTs. And second is the Love in the Box campaign, where we provided them with a box with protection for COVID, for STIs and HIV, and educational materials, and even relief support. Because if you are a member of the LGBT community and you are living on your own, most likely you are also not being included in the relief operations or the relief support of the barangay or even the government. So we took the initiative to make it sure, that no one will be left behind, that even those marginalized sector in the community are also getting the support that they need. And then other than that, we also launched the project for education, Gugma Eskwela and Gugma Tabang Eskwela. Diba? The Gugma Eskwela it's more empowerment of young people to become community champions of education, especially for those especially for those kids who are supposed to enroll in the kindergarten this year, but because of the pandemic, di ba, hindi nag-ooperate yung mga kindergartens. So we created a program that will empower the youth to become community teacher or community mentor. And the goal of the project is to transform young kids to become COVID Bulilit hero, wherein H stands for health, E stands for education, environment, R stands for rights to play, and O stands for one education. So the goal here is for us to be able to reach communities, remote areas, with kids who are not doing anything in their own respective home or house, and who are very confused with what is happening nowadays. Because based on our conversation with some of the mothers in the Parakay Baby, we realized that even the mothers can hardly explain it to their kids why it is important for them to stay at home, why it is important for them to do social distancing, why is it very important for them to regularly wash their hands, why is it very important to wear face mask and shield, and why is it that young kids should sacrifice their activities like playing with their peers outside their house. So basically, the program was actually designed in a way that our youth movers and volunteers will be able to transform these kids into a COVID bullied hero, that even if they are kids, they can actually do something to protect their families and to protect their parents. So we are in the process of we are in the process of, implementation right now, and we are so thankful and grateful to another grant that we received from a foundation based here in Cebu. That's the Ramon Aboitiz Foundation Incorporated. And then other than that, we are also very thankful with the support of, again, the Cebuanos for supporting our Gugma Tabang Eskwela. So far, I think we already have around 6 secondary schools wherein they were provided with reams of bond papers, inks, PPEs, and whatnot. And yeah, these are the things that are very much needed by our teachers nowadays, especially that they are in a modular classes, and some of them would really try to reach out to the communities for them to be able to bring that learning face to face with with their students and with the mothers. So far, yeah, I think we have done so much. We're supposed to be celebrating our 10th year anniversary as an organization, but I think we're so happy, and we are so happy and grateful that we are able to celebrate our 1 decade of community and youth empowerment here in Cebu, rising above COVID, empowering more young people to help, to volunteer, and helping the lost, the last, and the least. And I think that's one thing that we really take pride in CYA, because we are not only limiting our involvement, our support, and our help in social media. We are actually making a difference, and we are making an impact to the lives of those people in urban poor communities and in remote areas here in Cebu.
All right. Thank you so much, Kuya Pao. Congrats, by the way, on celebrating 10 years. Okay. Yeah, you've done a lot. I was listening to your projects, and it's really great that you reached out to those communities kasi sila talaga yung may kailangan ng tulong. So thank you, Kuya Pao, and thank you, CYAI, for really educating those, especially about COVID. Kasi COVID, I mean, everybody needs to be aware about the pandemic and the virus and what it can do and how we can stay safe. So thank you talaga, Kuya Pao, and I really appreciate the help that you've done for your fellow Cebuanos. So now with us today, we have Kyle David Atienza from the Street Classroom. Hello, Kyle. Can you hear? Okay, no, not si Kyle. Okay, so all right, we'll take a short break first, and then when we come back, we're gonna get to talk to Laila, Sam, and Kuya Pao, and we'll get to know their volunteer life, and maybe they could share some of their experiences while volunteering for their different organizations. So we are gonna see you after a few minutes.
We'll be back shortly, making a difference. Only here on V81 Radio, Manila. Connected ka na ba para laging updated sa mga bagong shows, promos, trending news, viral videos, events, o patok na OPM hits? Just follow us on Facebook at V81 Radio Manila. Simple lang, itype lang ang letter V81 Radio Manila. O di ba madali lang, kaya i-like at i-follow na. Coming soon on Napalm Season 3. If you rock with them, we're gonna roll them. Get ready for Napalm Music Awards because your new All Pinoy alternative music source is about to bring the house down. Abangan at tumutok lang tuwing Sunday, 1 p.m. dito sa Napalm para sa mga updates. Dito lang yan sa V81 Radio, Manila. Now back to Making a Difference only here on V81 Radio, Manila.
All right, welcome back to Making a Difference. If you are just tuning in now, my name is Erika Mison, and welcome to the show that inspires the motivate the youth of today. So again, my name is Erika Mison, and I am your host for today's episode. So before the break, I introduced four, of the youth volunteers that I have with me today in line with International Volunteers Day. So that is happening today. And if ever you do want to post about the International Volunteers Day, don't forget to use their hashtag. It is hashtag Together We Can. So with me today, I have Sam Villavicencio. She is from Ako. Then we have Laila Balinggan. She is from the Cordillera Youth Movers Program. We have Kuya Pao. He is in Cebu right now. So he is from the Cebuano Youth Ambassadors Inc. And we also have Kyle Atienza, who is the founder and chairperson of the Street Classroom. So hello again, everyone. Ayan, may pa-special guest din si Kuya Pao. All right, Kuya Pao, why don't you introduce your guest for today?
Bill, and she's a local youth development officer in the northern part of Bantayan. So she was a newly designated LYDO. And the good thing about the LYDC or the Local Youth Development Council here, it's because this is one of the policies that we developed together with one of the councilor in the Bantayan. So now it's already like they are now in the process of implementing it. They have already formed their local youth development council, and a budget was allocated for youth development programs amounting to 1 million already. And I think this is the first ever municipality or city, municipality out of the 54 municipalities and cities in Cebu with a fully functional local youth development council aligned with the SK reform law. So yeah, I'm here now in the northern part, like 5 hours travel. It's like 5 hours travel from Cebu City. So I was with our executive director as well. So I joined their meeting in SK Federation, and we're talking about how we can make this local youth development council a model local youth development council for the entire province of Cebu.
Yes, nice. Congratulations. Career council member din pala. I'm also actually a council member of the Local Youth Development Council here naman in Muntinlupa. So hello, council mate member. Okay, thanks for the introduction, no, Kuya Pao. So before we move on, nandito na si Kyle David Atienza from the... Why every time I introduce Kyle, nawawala siya. All right, so while we're getting Kyle back on, we can talk about I want to know naman your personal experiences while volunteering. So, do you, Laila, do you have any personal advocacies? And another follow-up question: what made you get into volunteering?
Right. I think for me, one of my personal advocacies is education in line with my profession as a teacher, and also the fight against child sexual exploitation. And this topic is easily get avoided normally, but I think that it's important to talk about the things that nobody wants to talk about, and to sort of open a dialogue or just simply talk about issues such as child sexual exploitation that most people don't want to talk about. And the thing is, child sexual exploitation is happening right now in front of our very own eyes, and it's happening everywhere. it can happen anywhere. It can happen to the children in our family, the children in our neighborhood, the children at our school. And this, I think that the scariest thing about this issue is that it targets the most vulnerable people in our society, and that's our children. And so, for me, advocating for that issue, it also comes from the fact that with the rise of the digital technology, um, perpetrators have now found like an easier way to prey on our children. And I think if we go that direction, it's more scarier than ever because what would happen to the future of our society if our children are being exploited, right? So I think that it's extremely important to talk about this issue, to educate our children, to educate our parents, to educate our friends, and basically anyone about it. Because with the CYNT, we believe that raising awareness about this topic is our first step to change. And as for your second question, so that's my personal advocacy one that I'm really particularly passionate about. Uh, as for your second question, like what made me get into volunteering, I really realized that my passion ako when it comes to volunteering until parang medyo natauhan lang ako for some reason. For some reason, when my mother like telling me that it's good to volunteer, but you should also have a time for yourself. So parang doon ako natauhan na I actually have a passion for volunteering, and I'm not actually sure how I got into volunteering, but I now realize that I had the heart of service. But looking back, I started volunteering at the age of 12 with Red Cross. And at that time, yung ginawa ko lang literally is that I was at the darkest part of my life. At 12 years old, I was dealing with personal mental issue. I was depressed. I was angry. I was being angry at the world, and I just wanted to, I don't know, sort of forget. And for some reason, at that time, nung high school kami, we had the Typhoon Yolanda in Leyte, in Tacloban. Kaya madaming victims of the calamity. So, nagtawag yung advisor namin to sort of volunteer. And parang pumasok lang ako literally sa Red Cross to offer my service and to tell them that I could help. And I started helping with yung basic tasks like sorting ng clothes, asking for donors, asking for donations. And since then, I've parang nagustuhan ko like how it made me feel. But more than that, I also liked what it felt like to be of service to other people. And na-realize ko at that time na it's quite tiring and exhausting, but at the same time, it was also quite fulfilling and satisfying. And I think lahat tayo, we are all volunteers here, and I think we could all relate to that kind of feeling. That's it for me.
Okay. I have a question though. With
Yeah.
regards to your personal advocacy, is there a reason why you chose that, or is there like a story behind your
Right. There is a personal story behind that. Um, I wouldn't say it's connect like that made that my story made me dwell into that kind of advocacy. But even without my history, even without my story, I would still be advocating for child sexual against child sexual exploitation, because I think that even without it happening to myself, it could happen to somebody. It could happen to my friends, and that is still something worth fighting for.
Thanks, Laila. Thanks for sharing. How about you, Sam? What is your personal?
So like what I said a while ago, I'm a really strong advocate for children's welfare and social justice. And I guess that really stemmed from my immersion experiences, which I had back in school at a very young age. So in grade school, we were already exposed to different communities. And I remember there was this specific experience where we had an outreach with Muslim children. And I studied in a Roman Catholic high school. So seeing how we were able to bond with kids who were really different from us really inspired me na, oh, we're a lot more similar than we really think. Like just because we do have a lot of differences in terms of social status or culture or beliefs, it doesn't mean you can't form relationships or friendships that could help them as well. So I guess from those experiences and the immersion programs, that's what really made me become passionate in doing these acts of service. That's why from these immersion experiences I started planning my own outreaches with my own friends. And from that little small passion of just wanting my friends from other schools or people of different communities to share that passion with me of being able to form relationships with these kids or people from sectors of society which we wouldn't really see or associate ourselves with prior to everything happening. I guess that's what really stemmed all the love that I have for service at the moment. And as this continues, it really inspires me now knowing that so many members of the youth today also share that same advocacy as I do for service. So especially during this pandemic, so in the start of this pandemic, we actually had a project for ako aiming to give back to the frontliners. And from that project, we really saw just how much people really wanted to help from the safety of their own homes. And I guess through that, we constantly wanted to do even more than just one project. And that's when we started doing more towards children who didn't have access to accessible education. We would partner up with different youth organizations so that we can raise money for tablets, hygiene kits, and even school materials for these children as well. And from there, we just realized that no matter how tiring it seemed like for other people, like how do you manage your time within work and school as well, since we are still students at the moment. And back when Ako started, we were really just in high school. So I guess there really is no answer to that. It's just that your passion and love for service talaga is really what will keep you going. And it doesn't seem like work to you because you do genuinely love what you're doing. And so from then on, we just continued to do even more projects and plan together. And it really inspired me to see how many people wanted to join me in this advocacy and help me with all these projects. And that sense of bayanihan and spirit really shines through during the everything that happened during Typhoon Ulysses. And so seeing just how many youth organizations and people my age who wanted to help from the safety of their own homes was really
Ayan. All right. So we'll get back to Sam when she comes back. I think that's one of the challenges today, but we'll talk about that later on. So now kayo naman po, Kuya Pat. Do you have this is a question for the both of you po actually. Do you have any
In what way? Erika, what was your question again? Sorry.
We'll be back shortly, making a difference. Only here on V81 Radio, Manila. Are you ready to explore a new kind of music? Yung bang kakaiba na hindi mo pa napapakinggan? Mga bagong artist. Nagugulat sa inyo sa kanilang awit at tugtugan. Discover them, hear them in Napalm Hour. Ang Napalm ay ang new all-Pinoy alternative music source na para sa kakaibang musika. Alternative artists and bands all the time. Catch them at Napalm Hour. Mondays through Fridays, 12 noon to 1 p.m. and 8 to 9 p.m. Streaming live on V81 Radio mobile app. Kaya i-download mo na for free. Now na! Now back to Making a Difference. Only here on V81 Radio, Manila.
Hi everyone, so welcome back to Making a Difference. So if you're just tuning in today, I have been interviewing 3 youth volunteers that I have with me today in line with International Volunteers Day. So I'd like to call them back on. So we have Sam Villavicencio, Laila Balinggan, and Kuya Mar Saberon. Ayan, there's everybody. I can see everybody. Okay. All right. So before the break, I was asking Kuya Pao, if both of you actually, if you have any personal advocacies and how did that lead to you volunteering?
I think for me, ako na ba? Sorry.
Yes, yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
I think for me, it started it started with all my hugot when I was really in my childhood years. Nung bata pa lang ako, like I came from a very poor family. We can hardly eat 3 square meals a day, maybe. There were times na, especially when my father passed away, like our family experienced the worst. There were times na kailangan naming mag-inom ng tubig from the other from our neighbors. There are also times na napuputulan ng kuryente, and then we have to save every candle that we have for us to be able to study during the night. Diba? And there are also times that we have to sacrifice every single coin that we have for us to be able to go to school. Like, let's say, if we can wake up early in the morning, we wake up early in the morning, eat our breakfast, and then walk from our house going to the school. So that's how we were disciplined, and that's how we are being instilled with the value of education by our mother. Kasi nga, wala na yung papa namin at that time. And then other than that, it also made me realize that if you don't have much, parang you're also kinda, deprived with so many opportunities. Like when I was in elementary, I could still remember that I would want to be part of the dance group, right? Because I would really want to dance. Pero if you would want to be part of the dance group, you have to contribute for your costume. Like your parents will have to pay for that. And there were also times when I was in elementary, I would want to be part of the Boy Scout. Diba? Imagine how cool is it and how exciting or adventurous it is if you will be joining a adventure camp in a mountain area or near the river. And I never experienced that when I was in my elementary years because we don't have much, and I belong in a family with 7 siblings. All right, so I was put in a situation that I would really want to participate, and I would really want to develop myself and do more and become more. But because of our situation, I'm actually deprived of a lot of things. But my mother did not fail to always encourage me and motivate me to dream, and fight for that dream. And no matter how difficult the situation is, if there is that at least 1% opportunity that you can join, you can participate, and then you can make the most out of it, and you give your all. That's how I was trained. That's how I was mentored by my own mother when I was a child. So those experiences in my childhood years, I carry those learnings with me when I grow up. So when I was already in high school, I know that my elementary years was not that good enough. Like I never had a chance to really to really involve myself. So I gave everything during my my high school years, and then my group of friends are also coming from a poor family. Like kami talaga magkasama, pero I really parang I see myself to them. Like they would want to get out of their shell to see the world in its real perspective and meaning, and for them to be able to contribute, for them to be able to become the other students in the class, or to become performer, or to become someone who is taking the lead, or to become part of those people who are getting more respect compared to what they are getting because of their of their status in life. So yun siya, parang I see myself to those friends and former classmates, and then I told myself I think I have to do something. Then that started everything, and I keep on telling them that what, no matter how difficult our situation is, no matter how unfair life to us, no, siguro we can still be at par with those people who have more than enough in life. So yun siya, like I ran in the student council, the year level, and then I won. And it made me realize that parang in almost all clubs and organizations na tumatakbo ako in school, ako yung nagiging presidente, and people started to consider me as the voice of those who are coming from the general section, because I started in the general section when I was in high school. When I was in elementary, honest class pa lang ako, pero when I was in high school already, I told myself I would want to be part of the general section for me to be able to understand those people who are in the general section more. So, yun. When I was already in my higher years in high school, parang doon ko na-realize na the more that I'm setting the example to my friends, the more that they will become motivated and empowered, and the more that they will not really look up to you, but they will consider you as someone na, okay, nakaya nga ni Pao, baka kaya din natin. So, when we graduated college, when we were about to when we were already in college, it made me realize na parang they are becoming more involved as well, and they are already trying to balance their life in school, in their studies, and in community works. So yun siya, yan yung pinakaunang hugot ko. It's really more on the youth empowerment and youth development. Siguro yun talaga yung pinaka advocacy ko. So when I also created the organization here, like I founded the organization here in Cebu, I would want to create a safe space, a platform for young people to really be more immersed, and to really learn from the actual experience, and not just for those theories that they learn from the school. Diba? So yeah, CYA is just a platform. CYA is like an incubator for young leaders in Cebu to know themselves more, to improve themselves, and to make themselves capable of becoming a change maker, a mover, a mobilizer, a leader in their own initiatives, in their own communities, or even in their own family. And then, yeah, it made me realize that those former members of our organization are not only becoming leaders in various companies or even in the government, but also leaders in their own family. So imagine kung dati ang mga bata, parang yung mga parents would only tell them na kanang makinig ka sa akin kasi anak ka lang, 'di ba? Kasi bata ka pa, kasi kami yung mas nakakatanda. So CYA leaders are actually trained to be more respectful and supportive to the parents, but in a way to be more empowered, that they too can actually have a meaningful and a healthy conversation with their parents on matters that are very sensitive, or matters that are not so typical for a child or for an anak to start a conversation with their parents. So yun, and I think that is something na medyo proud ako. And then other than that, other than the youth empowerment, another focus is yung education.
Okay.
Diba?
Yes.
Sabi, diba, I said earlier na I came from a very poor family, and like when my father passed away, my mother can hardly augment the bigger amount that we need for us to be able to finish our studies. But our mother has never failed to instill the value of education to us. So even if we are really having difficulties with our finances, we are all taught to really work hard if it is possible for us to look for a part-time job, to work for extra, to equip ourselves more with research and everything, so that if there is an opportunity for us to earn, at least we can earn and then save and then use it for us to be able to enroll ourselves. So it's like that. So when I was already in my college, I moved from Davao City to Cebu City because I consider Davao City as my comfort zone. So if I'm outside my comfort zone, I know that there's more opportunity for me to grow, to become more mature, to become more independent, and for me to become not dependent to my parents with my finances, with my decisions and all. So yeah, I graduated college without even asking any financial support from my parents. So I work in a call center or in a BPO during the night. That's 9 hours. And then I was a full-time student leader. I was the president of our student council, president of the Cebu Federation of Student Council, and I was also a full-time student, and I was able to graduate I was able to graduate college without getting any support from anyone. So but for me, education I think is very important, and it started with how the education was instilled to me by my mother. Then I carry that with me. Na parang in my mind, I would always tell myself I would really need to finish my studies for me to become someone, so that people will also listen to me, so that people will get um, to hear my voice, so that I'll be able to get a job, for me to be able to improve my life in the future, or even improve the lives of my family, and for me to be able to inspire those kids who belong in a family like I had before, and those who can, those who can hardly submit themselves into the school, or maybe they may be enrolled, but they are having difficulties with with the things that they need in school. Yeah, so yun siya yung pinaghugutan ko on my advocacy on education. And then lastly, about LGBT. So, I'm a proud member of the LGBT community. Before, alam mo yung feeling na if you are in your own family, you can hardly express yourself, right? Na parang even if you are, you are having a crush with someone, you can tell it to your mom, to your mother, because your mother will not understand that you're having a crush with someone of the same sex. You get what I mean? So it was very difficult. So growing up on my own, and being part of a family is also struggling. Coming out is really very difficult, and I never had that like one-on-one or intimate conversation with my mother as of yet. That I'm not really afraid that they used to believe. But little by little, they are actually trying to understand and trying to, to get to know me more. So yeah, this time I actually dedicated myself into, helping young LGBT, especially for those who don't even have access to education, for those who are more vulnerable to having STIs, HIVs, or even mental health challenges, to be more empowered and to really believe in themselves, to dream and to really fight for that dream. So basically, that's it. I'm fighting for youth empowerment, for youth development, for education, and for for LGBT.
You know what? I truly understand bakit yung tawag po sa inyo ay si Kuya Pao. Talagang people really look up to you, Kuya Pao. I thank you so much for sharing yung mga advocacies nyo po. I will get back to you though, because right now we have Kyle David Atienza from the Street Classroom. Hello, Kyle. Kamusta ka naman dyan? Can you hear us well?
Hi, Miss Erika. Thank you so much for having me. Kapit na yung internet natin.
Yes. Okay, we made it. Okay lang yun. Pati ako nawala. But it's okay. I think that's one of the struggles nowadays, no? So since we're gonna put the spotlight on you now that you're here. So maybe you could tell us something muna about the Street Classroom, and then we'll move forward from that. So go, Kyle.
Ayan. So first of all, I'm Kyle. I'm a public school teacher. I'm 22 years old. And I'm almost the same age as my students because I teach senior high school students. I will turn 1 in the public service this January, and our organization will turn 2 on January as well, because it was founded last January 5, It was created basically because I was unemployed by that time and I don't want to be someone who is stagnant. So I just created a Facebook post saying that I wanted to create an organization. We will teach in the streets. We will create support systems for our learners because in December 2018, there was this research that shows that 10 out of 10 Filipino learners don't have grades. And poverty is the only fifth reason. The first reason was that they don't have the proper support system inside their homes, inside their schools. That is why they don't have the tenacity to achieve these dreams. Now, uh, we created the street classroom to create support systems for our learners, and with those support systems, we can bring them back to formal education inside classrooms, and we can also motivate them to continue achieving their dreams. Now, the street classroom is a family of more than 200 Marinduqueño and non-Marinduqueños. We are bounded by love, and our organization was recognized by the 10 Accomplished Youth Organizations last 2019. We qualified as the only organization in the Mimaropa region. We had this project called the Pangarap ng Puso project because Marinduque is known as the heart of the Philippines. So what we wanted to do is to collate all the dreams of our Marinduqueño learners. And what we found there is learners doesn't really know how to represent their dreams. We had this kid that his dream is to become a red dinosaur. But
Oh,
if you are to look at that drawing, if you are to look at that drawing, mapapatawa ka lang saying na it's impossible to achieve that dream. But because again we are trying to create sport systems, we tried to dig deeper onto the reason into why that child wanted to become a red dinosaur. And his reason was he just wanted to run quick and go after his father whenever he goes. So what we told him was that if he studied good in school, that he can become an athlete. Merong isang bata that he wanted to become a green pig kasi gusto lang niya maging nanay na maraming anak. And kulay green yung baboy because that is what we see sa mga computer natin sa green subject. Na yung mga pigs ay kulay green. At alam niya na maraming pinakang isang baboy. That is why yung representation ng kanyang green ay isang baboy. Kaya, ayun, parang we just really wanted to let the child know that there will always be someone for them to support their dreams. Now this year, because we didn't qualify for the national finals last year of time, we immediately crafted a new project. But because of the pandemic, we were unable to implement that project. But we had created this project called the Four Piece para sa Four Piece. It's short for Pangarap Puso Pag-isip Project para sa Pamilyang Pilipino Program. Last year, the judges told us that we only focus on the dreams or not focus on the whole personality of the learner so that we can uh, fully motivate them to go back to school. So this year, we focused on their dreams as well, their mentality, their values, and this is only focused now for our fourth beneficiaries because we found that most of the learners who are not attending school in Marinduque are also four-piece beneficiaries. And because of that, uh, yung ayuda na natatanggap ng household nila ay nababawasan because the attendance of the learners in school is one of the conditions of the program. And because of the pandemic, maliit na kayo natatanggap nila na ayuda from the government. Mababawasan sila. So what will happen? Pwede silang uh, mangutang, pwedeng magkaroon ng child labor, yung mga anak nila sumasama sa pangingisda. Some of the aming beneficiary ngayon ay pag-live-in na, merong mga pregnant na so na hindi na sila tumuloy sa school. So, we provided them everything that they need. We started with providing them a month's worth of food items during the months of June and July. And then we wanted to bring back na yung mga bata sa school. So we provided them with sanitary kits, na mga school kits. We currently have around 400 children beneficiaries and 100 household beneficiaries. And we also are now rehabilitating 10 public school libraries. Kasi kahit wala yung bata sa school, what we wanted to happen sana ay kapag bumalik na tayo sa school, ay meron na silang library. Na pwede silang magbasa, pwede nilang iuwi yung mga books sa bahay. Ganyan. And we also had this idea of creating a notebook. Isa siyang gratitude journal na it's unlike any other journal na kailangan mo magsulat ng mahabang paragraph. Kailangan mo lang mag-drawing kung masaya ka or malungkot on this day. And then after a month, you will look back dun sa mga drawing mo. And then you will tell yourself, ba't kaya kasi ko buong buwan? Ba't kaya ang lungkot ko buong buwan? Ano kaya yung ginawa ko? So with that, ma-self-assess ng bata kung ano ba dapat yung continue niya na attitude, alin niyo bang dapat niya nang itigil na attitude. And we are very happy to announce that this project has once again reached the national semifinals of the 10 Accomplished Youth Organization. Yun, so that is and still is our pandemic response. And just yesterday, we graduated from the program of the Office of the Vice President, ni Villavicencio. This is the Community Learning Hub. We are very happy kasi ito yung kaunang Community Learning Hub sa Marinduque in the Mimaropa region. This is a place where our learners can learn na hindi sa face-to-face interaction. We are there to provide them the tutor services. Pero because nga yung aming municipality and yung mismong isla namin is having trouble with, of course, the internet connection and also the gadgets, ay nandun sa community learning hub yung mga kailangan ng bata para sila ay mag-implement yung learning nila in school kahit na sila ay modular learning. Ayun. Mostly yun ang the key classes.
Congrats, Kyle, on doing all these for all your achievements lately for the street classroom. So sorry, I'm really gonna put the spotlight on you since nakabalik ka na. Ikaw, Kyle, do you have any personal advocacies besides than what you do for the street classroom?
Yes, so aside from the street classroom, by the way, the street classroom was inspired by this kid. I graduated pala Bachelor of Psychology and team with Laila. And by that time, ayaw ko talagang pag-isip sa teacher. But after meeting this kid dun sa field study namin, field study is a practicum subject kung saan kailangan mo pumunta sa school and observe how the teaching learning process goes. And then this kid came to me and said na, I dreamt about you, nagtuturo ka daw sa kalsada. And during those times, wala lang akong pakialam doon sa bata sa sinabi niya because I really don't want to teach. Pero after losing myself, after passing the board exam, doon nag-pop yung picture ng bata and naalala ko, what if this is an angel that God sent me and this is really what he wants me to do. So, yun, tinuloy ko in the street ka. So, may aside from that, I am also a pet lover. So, I advocate for the rights of the animals. Kung may karapatan tayong mga tao, dapat may karapatan din yung mga aso natin. And kanina pa nangungulit yung pet ko.
Hello!
And kaya, ayun, kahit na, especially before that there was this issue sa Marinduque na may mass killings of dogs. Talagang dapat kailangan natin idaan sa legal process and also yung mga possible reason on to why that happened. Yun.
Okay. So, actually, before we officially end this show, I have a question for all of you guys. Now, a while ago, I mentioned that today is International Volunteers Day and their official hashtag is #Together Weekend. So one final question for all of you is how were you able to demonstrate #Together Weekend? I think we talked about this few segments and the words bayanihan came up. So let's start ulit with Kyle. Maybe you could cite a few examples na how you were able to demonstrate the #Together Weekend.
Yes. So, I think the street classroom demonstrates bayanihan simply because our operations purely run from donations. bihira kami maglabas ng sarili namin pera because we don't have extra money with us. And dahil kahit sure tayo, our salary is not enough to suffice our needs. And also yun kasing ginagawa namin sa Discrete Classroom and also in our other partner organizations ay talagang hindi lang kami yung pinipilos. Kailangan namin ng support from the community, kailangan namin ng support from the local government. And talaga ngayong panahon ng pandemic, kailangan ng pagkakaisa. Dapat yung differences natin i-set aside muna natin. Yung mga pinaniniwalaan natin values ay kahit political affiliations, dapat alisin muna natin because we really, if we are looking for change, dapat tayo yung magsimula ng change. And with that, kailangan natin
All right. Oh, okay. Ayan. Thank you, Kyle. How about Sam? How were you able to show or demonstrate the hashtag Together Weekend?
So I guess through ako, we really want to show that there is no specific or perfect or right way to help. Like helping has no boundaries. So even if you just donate 20 pesos, that 20 pesos could be what's missing to provide a family with a meal. And I guess throughout this course of, donating for the typhoon victims, it really showed that there is no specific or guidelines in helping, because as long as you're passionate to do something, then that is all that matters. So seeing just how the spirit of Bayanihan is so evident among members of the youth, it's really inspiring knowing that we can do so much if everyone does something to help. So it doesn't have to be something super big like donating like a super large amount. Just sharing a post on social media is already good enough and is already help enough. So yeah, I guess just through a collection of small efforts talaga, all the members of the youth, when we do something to help, it really shows just how much we can do when we do it together.
All right. How about Laila?
I like all of their answers, though, I have to say. But I think for CYMP, I don't want to hide the fact that the CYMP started out as a single project, a one-person project, I should say. And but it was established is the idea of what I said, binadang in our local term, which is in English, it literally means the spirit of community work. And with the C1MP, that sort of from a single person project, it sort of bloomed into this organization with network of all Cordilleran youths, and to sort of establish a dialogue about the SDGs of the region, and to spark this community work among the Cordilleran youth. And so I think that itself, that foundation and that core value that we want to share with the rest of the marginalized community in the region is already showing the hashtag Together We Can in the organization.
Right. Thank you so much, Laila. And last but not the least, we have Kuya Pao. So Kuya Pao, how were you able to demonstrate the hashtag Together Weekend? Sorry, Kuya Pao, can you unmute? You're on mute. So sorry about that. Yeah. All right, there we go.
Yeah. So yes, in Cebuano Youth Ambassadors, we always see to it that in every initiatives that we are doing, we always have that one kahayag, kadasig, gugma, o kalipa. If we talk about kahayag, it's basically providing empowerment, awareness, and education every time we do an initiative. So let's say, for example, in our COVID response for the mothers, making it sure that our mothers are educated about COVID, about breastfeeding, when we are working with our advocacy with the LGBT, making sure that our LGBT young people are empowered and educated at the same time about HIV, mental health, and whatnot. And then Kadasig, Bayanihan has always been embedded in our initiatives. So no initiatives must be implemented in our organization without giving due consideration to the importance of bayanihan. So we always see to it that the initiative is a platform for many youth organizations to be more involved and to really participate. So yeah, that's Kadasik. And Gugma, it's really more on reaching out to those communities um, in whatever platforms that may be, more beneficial and impactful to them. And then Kalipay, you know how tiring it is to be immersed in so many kind of advocacy and development works. But at the end of the day, even the small milestones that you accomplished, or even if the implementation is not so good, you always see to it that we always have to see to it that we're able to identify those small wins, and then recognize the efforts of those people who are working with us. So that's basically Kalipay. So we see to it that in every initiative, at the end of the day, whatever is the result or whatever is the output, the impact, we should always celebrate, and we should, recognize the learnings, the growth, and the bayanihan, and the success or even the failure of our initiatives.
Thank you so much, Kuya Pao. I just want to recognize that I noticed there were different dialects gifts that were said when it comes to Bayanihan or Together Weekend. So it really comes to show that each one of us talaga, we're really trying to coordinate and collaborate and just really help one another in whatever way that we can. So thank you, Laila, Pao, Sam, and Kyle. Before I let you guys go, I will give you this time to really just promote your organizations, and if you have any projects coming up, please feel free to promote it. So we can start ulit with Kuya Pao.
Yes, this coming December 19 and December 20, we will be having our third CYA summit, and this time we call it Sakalam. So it's a very famous line among young people in Cebu, like the word malakas, like youth ang malakas, si Kuya Pao ang malakas. And then we decided na when we will design the program for the CYA summit this year, we would want to highlight the youth is really malakas, especially in rising above COVID. So we are targeting the SK officers, SK officials, local youth development officers, or even the local legislators in the city council to participate in the CYA summit, because in 2021 we will, maximize our campaign to strengthen youth participation in every city and every municipality here in Cebu. We want to make it sure that local youth development council will be institutionalized, that local youth development fund that there is a fund for the local youth development programs, and that there is a local youth designate, and that young people from different organizations will be able to participate in the local government. So basically, that's it. For those SKs in Cebu, local youth development officers, or even youth organizations, we would like to invite you to join us this coming 19th and 20th of December and celebrate the the spirit of the young people, especially in this pandemic, that we are all sakalam and malakas. I think that's it.
Thanks, Kuya Pao. And where do you have any social media website where we can follow you?
It's just type in Cebuano Youth Ambassadors
On Facebook.
in Facebook. There.
Okay, all right. And next, how about you, Kyle? You feel free to promote any projects, or actually also pala, if you have any personal shout outs, you guys, go ahead. Go, Kyle.
Yes, so of course, happy International Volunteers Day, everyone, and thank you, Ms. Erika, for inviting us in your show. And if you want to volunteer or donate to our organization, kindly visit our Facebook page, the Classroom. And if you want to collaborate with our organization, hopefully partner as well, you can send us a proposal in our email, feedclass.ph@gmail.com. So yun. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Kyle. Okay, next we have Laila.
Hi, yes. Hello, everyone, and also thank you, Miss Erika, and your team for this wonderful show. Thank you so much for having us. But most importantly, I would just like to, for everyone, for every youth in Cordillera, we are encouraging you to join the Cordillera Youth Movers program. Together, we can educate and raise awareness about the SDGs and hopefully attain the SDGs in our region by 2030. Together, we can do it. Yay!
Thank you so much for that, Laila. And last but not the least, Sam.
So I just want to say thank you also for having me, like on behalf of Ako. And so yeah, like we still have an ongoing donation drive for the typhoon victims all over the Philippines who were affected by Typhoon Ulysses. So if you're interested in donating, you can check out our donation channels, which are still open. We're open to monetary and in-kind donations. So you can check that out on our Instagram at ako.org.ph and also on our Facebook, Aksyon ng Kabataan Organization. We also do have an incoming Christmas project, as I mentioned a while ago, which we will be officially launching tonight, but it is for the benefit of our two partner foundations, which is Tahanan ng Pagmamahal and the Ating Familia Foundation. So it is in support of our advocacy, which is really just children's welfare and social justice. So if you're interested, then you should make sure to check that out and check also our social media pages for our posts, since we do have a lot of write-ups and zines by our very own members on various advocacies, so that might interest you. And shout out as well to my whole ACO committee and my ACO core group. I wouldn't be here and all our projects wouldn't be possible without you guys. So yes, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sam, Kuya Pao, Laila, and Kyle. Thank you all for being here today. And I hope you all take care. I know we live in different parts of the Philippines. But again, please take care. And I hope to also meet you guys in the future personally. That would be great. Again, thank you so much for being here on Making a Difference. I'll see you guys in a bit. Bye, everyone. All right. So before I end the show, I mentioned a while ago that we were supposed to have 5 youth volunteers today. The other one was Niniay Mohammad. So she is the co-founder and president of Movement of Progressive Young Leaders. So she was actually here in the beginning of the show before we did the countdown, but she actually stays in Marawi right now, and there's no they just lost connection. There's no electricity, but she sends everyone her warm regards, and I do hope that we get to talk to her and have her again on Making a Difference. So again, I would like to greet everyone, all the volunteers. Happy International Volunteers Day. Again, thank you all so much for all the volunteering, for all the support, even just by sharing all the publications on social media. That is such a big help, especially for the recent typhoon victims. Again, if you wanna post or actually thank the volunteers, please don't forget to use their official hashtag for today, which is hashtag Together Weekend, and shout out to hashtag Youth Rise PH organization. So this was created actually because of the recent typhoons, and a lot of youth organizations and SK councils are in this group, and they have showed their support, whether they are in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. A lot of people, a lot of youth volunteers took action, and they volunteered a lot of their time to repack and send all the needed donations to those victims. So again, thank you all so much. We are so thankful to all the youth volunteers. So again, that was today's episode. I hope you're all doing great and staying safe. If ever you do need to go out, please do not forget to wear your face mask, wear your face shields, and practice social distancing, practice proper hygiene. This is my reminder to all my viewers. Again, thank you all so much. And sorry, please don't forget to follow Making a Difference on Facebook. And if you follow Making a Difference on Instagram, that is mad.v81rsm on Instagram, you will actually get a gift from the Cleansely. All you need to do is just follow Making a Difference on Instagram, and we will be sending you a message with regards to your gift. So again, thank you all so much. Please also don't forget to follow V81 Radio Manila. We have a couple more shows throughout the weekend. I will see you all next week. Take care, everyone, and stay safe. Bye.
We'll be back shortly, Making a Difference, only here on V81 Radio Manila. Pagpatak ng 7, dapat lahat nakatutok sa amin. Catch these programs at 7 p.m. Pacific Time. Talk Shop Asia Global, USA Edition, with Rolly Pagaspas and Rosario Cajucom Bradbury. Home Not Alone, Sounds from Home, with Papa Gio. And Freedom in Christ, with Felson. It's all about entrepreneurship, entertainment, and enlightenment. Back-to-back programs at 7. LA at 7. LA at 7. Exclusively on V81 Radio, Los Angeles. Kabayan, nahuhumsik ka ba? I-download na ang aming mobile app at mag-enjoy sa mga kantang tatak Pinoy and feel like you're home. The V81 Radio mobile app, available in the App Store and Google Play Store. V81 Radio mobile app, free now, free forever.